The room smelled faintly of antiseptic and lavender air freshener, the kind meant to comfort but never quite strong enough to hide the truth of a hospital. Evening light filtered softly through the blinds, casting long golden lines across the quiet room. Mr. Karim sat in his wheelchair beside the bed, his frail hands resting loosely in his lap, his breathing slow and uneven. Age had carved deep lines into his face, and time had taken more from him than it had left behind. Most days, he barely spoke. Most days, he barely reacted. To the world, he was just another forgotten old man waiting for his story to quietly end. But Aisha didn't see him that way. She adjusted the blanket over his knees gently, as if even the smallest movement required care. Her touch was soft, practiced, and full of something rare in that place, genuine kindness. She had been working long shifts for weeks, her own life a constant struggle outside those hospital walls, yet somehow, when she stepped into this room, she left her burdens at the door. "You know," she whispered, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear, "my mother used to say that music reaches places words never can." Mr. Karim didn't respond. He never did. But Aisha smiled anyway. And then, as she had done every evening for the past month, she began to sing. Her voice was soft, warm, and steady, like a quiet breeze on a summer evening. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. It carried something deeper than perfection. It carried feeling. Each note seemed to wrap gently around the old man, filling the silence with something alive. What Aisha didn't know was that she wasn't alone. Standing just outside the partially open door was a man in a navy suit, his hand frozen on the doorframe. His name was Samir Karim, Mr. Karim's only son. A self-made millionaire, known for his sharp business instincts and even sharper decisions. He had built an empire from nothing, but in the process, he had lost something far more important, time with his father. He had arrived unannounced, intending only to check on the old man before rushing back to another meeting, another deal, another piece of a life that suddenly felt empty. But then he heard the singing. And he stopped. Samir watched as the young caregiver leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper now. There was no performance in her tone, no attempt to impress, just pure, unfiltered care. His father, who hadn't reacted to anything in weeks, seemed calmer. His tense shoulders had relaxed. His breathing steadied. Samir's chest tightened. He couldn't remember the last time he had seen his father look at peace. A memory hit him suddenly, his father humming the same kind of soft tune years ago when Samir was just a boy, sitting beside him during long nights when life was simpler and love was easier to show. And now, a stranger was giving his father what he hadn't. The song ended, and Aisha gently placed her hand over Mr. Karim's. "You're not alone," she whispered. "Even if it feels like it, someone always cares." Samir felt something shift inside him. He pushed the door open slowly. Aisha turned, startled, her expression quickly shifting to concern. "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know anyone was here. Visiting hours are." "It's okay," Samir interrupted softly, stepping inside. His voice lacked its usual authority. For once, he wasn't the powerful man people feared or admired. He was just a son. "I'm his son." Aisha's eyes softened immediately. "I didn't realize. He doesn't get many visitors." The words weren't meant to hurt, but they did. Samir glanced at his father, guilt washing over him like a heavy wave. "I've been busy." Aisha didn't respond. She didn't need to. Silence filled the room for a moment before Samir spoke again. "You sing to him every day?" She nodded. "It helps. Maybe not in ways we can measure, but I think he feels it." Samir looked at his father again, really looked this time. Not as a responsibility, not as a fading presence, but as the man who had given him everything. And suddenly, success didn't feel like success anymore. "What's your name?" he asked. "Aisha." Samir took a slow breath. "Aisha, thank you." She looked surprised. "It's just my job." "No," he said quietly. "It's not. Not the way you do it." For the first time in a long time, Samir made a decision that had nothing to do with profit, power, or strategy. It had everything to do with heart. "I want you to keep taking care of him," he said. "Personally. I'll make sure you're compensated well, better than well." Aisha hesitated. "Sir, I don't do this for money." "I know," Samir replied. "That's exactly why you deserve it." But what he did next changed everything. Over the following weeks, Samir didn't just arrange better care, he started showing up. Every day. At first, he stood quietly in the corner, listening to Aisha sing. Then he began sitting beside his father. Then, one evening, he joined in. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't polished. But it was real. And slowly, Mr. Kareem began to respond. A slight movement of his hand. A faint opening of his eyes. A whisper of recognition. The doctors called it unexpected progress. Samir called it a miracle. But Aisha knew the truth. It wasn't just medicine. It was love, finally finding its way back. Months later, Samir made another life-changing decision. He funded a foundation in Aisha's name, one dedicated to providing compassionate care for the elderly, focusing not just on physical needs, but emotional ones too. Aisha's life changed overnight. But she never stopped singing. Because for her, it was never about being seen. It was about making someone else feel seen. And for Samir, that lesson was worth more than every dollar he had ever earned. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more powerful, emotional stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Red Heart.